Hi everyone, thank you for stopping by. My name is Heather. For today's video, I wanted to show you how to make this mandala little bag. This one's a very fun one. I actually originally wrote the pattern, I want to say almost 2 years ago. I've never done the video because I kind of was holding off on it. So I've finally done a video tutorial onto it. I did go with multiple different colors, so it actually shows the changes throughout the rows. In my PDF version of the pattern, I actually show you how to do one continuous, not changing colors throughout the entire work of it, and also where to start and stop rows for if you are changing colors. So if you do want to check that out, I will link where you can purchase the PDF version in the description box below for anyone who is interested. And if you are one that just likes to come in and watch the patterns and get all the free versions for it, thank you so much for stopping by. You're always welcome. But if you would, just a little help for me to help so I can continue creating all these videos for you. If you wouldn't mind, just hit a little like, throw me a little content or a comment in the comment section below. It actually gives me a big help with the algorithms through here to help me so I can continue making these little tutorials for you. And if you are interested and would like to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you can hit that little bell notification next to it so you can get head up every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Supplies for this project, we'll simply need a pair of scissors, darning needle, a 4mm crochet hook, yarn of your choice and colors, and also we'll need something roughly about 4 inches, 4 or 5 inches. That will be able to, I'll show you how to make the tassel that we're going to use as a clasp for holding together the purse. To start off for row 1, we're going to start with our first color, and we're going to create our slip knot. And then from here, we're going to chain 7. And then we're going to slip stitch into that first chain in order to join. So essentially, we've just made a circle. Here we are for row 1. For row 2, we're going to stay with the same color, and we're going to chain 3. Now this first chain 3 does in fact count as your first double crochet. Then we're going to want to double crochet into the ring, and then chain 1. Now we're going to put 2 double crochets into the ring, and then chain 1, and we're going to want to repeat this 9 more times. 2 double crochets into the ring, and then a chain 1, and at the end we're going to have a total of 11 of these 2 double crochet clusters followed by a chain 1. Right, now that we're here at the end, we're going to go to our first chain 3, and into that very last top 3rd chain, we're going to simply slip stitch into there in order to join. And then we can go ahead and tie off. And there we are for row 1. For round 3, we're going to attach our next color, and we're going to attach this right into the chain 1 spaces. And then from here, we're going to chain 3, which for this round does count as your first double crochet. And then into that same chain 1 space, we're going to put 2 double crochets. Now skipping over to our next chain 1 space, we're going to put 3 double crochets into there. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this 9 more times. 3 into the next chain 1 space, 3 double crochets, and at the end we're going to have a total of 11 of these clusters of now here at the end we're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain of your first chain 3 of the round in order to join and tie off. And there we are for the end of round 3. For round 4, we're going to create our slip knot and attach our next color. And we're going to be attaching this right in between the chain or 3 double crochet groups. So we had one here and one here, so we're going to work right into this space. And from here, we're going to chain 3, and this does count as a double crochet stitch for this round. And then we're going to put 2 more double crochets into that same space. And then chain 2. Now into our next space between, we're going to put 3 double crochets. Followed by a chain 2, and we're going to repeat this 9 more times. Right in between the next clusters, 3 double crochets followed by a chain 2, and you will have a total of 11 of these little clusters created at the end. And now we're here at the end. We're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain of our first chain 3 of our round in order to join. And then we can go ahead and tie off with that color. And there we are for round 4. For round 5, we're going to attach our yarn into one of the chain 2 spaces. And then from here, chain 3. And yes, this is going to count as our first double crochet of the round. Now from here, we want to put 4 more double crochets into that same space where we attached. And then we want to chain 1. Now working into this next chain 2 space, we're going to put 5 double crochets followed by a chain 1. And we're going to repeat this 9 more times, 5 double crochets, then chain 1, and then on to the next chain 2 space. And at the end, we're going to have a total of 11 of these clusters made. And then here at the end, we're going to slip stitch into that third chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join. And we can go ahead and tie off. And there we are for round 5. Now for round 6, we're going to start and join our next color. And we're going to attach this into one of the chain 1 spaces from the previous row. Right, and then into here we're going to do a single crochet. So we're just kind of ignoring the join and we're just going directly into a single crochet. And then we're going to chain 7. And then we single crochet once into our next chain 1 space. And then we just simply repeat that single crochet and then chain 7. Single crochet, chain 7. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. So we're going to end up having 11 of these little chain 7 groups. And then on our very last one, we're going to simply slip stitch into that first single crochet of the round in order to join. And there we are with round 6. For round 7, I'm going to keep this same color. I'm going to just slip stitch into that first chain 7 space. Then from here, I'm going to chain 3. This does count as our first double crochet. And we're going to double crochet 7 more times into that same chain 7 space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then from here, for our repeat for the round, we're going into the chain 7 space and we're going to put 8 double crochets into the chain 7 space. And we're going to repeat this 9 more times. Just simply nothing in between, 8 double crochets into the chain 7 space. And then here at the end, we're going to slip stitch into that third chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join. And from here we can go ahead and tie off. And there we are for the end of round 7. For round 8, I'm switching to my next color. And we're going to attach this into the top of any one of these stitches. So I'm just going to attach one over from where we tied off from the previous row. From here I'm going to chain 4. Now this chain 4 counts as your first chain 3 of it, counts as a double crochet, and then the chain 1 is a chain space. And what we're going to want to do is skip 1 and double crochet into your next stitch, and then chain 1. Now we're going to want to repeat this 41 more times, so all the way around. So we're going to skip 1, double crochet into our next stitch, and then chain 1. Skip 1, double crochet into our next stitch, and chain 1. And we'll go ahead and repeat this all the way around. All right, then here we're at the end. So right here, the joining and whatnot, this was a hard stitch to try and stitch through, so that's why I did 1 over. Now we're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain of your first chain 4 of your round in order to join. So here you can see we still have the chain 1 separating those double crochets. And from here we can go ahead and tie off. And there we are for the end of round 8. For round 9, we're going to attach our yarn into one of the chain 1 spaces. And from here, we're going to chain 3, and this counts as a double crochet. And we're going to want to double crochet 1 more time into that same space, and then chain 1, and then working into, for our repeat that we're going to redo, into the next chain 1 space here, we're going to put 2 double crochets, and then a chain 1, and we're going to repeat that 42 more times. So into your next chain 1 space, 2 double crochets, and then chain 1, and we're going to go all the way around our entire piece. All right, now here at the end, we're going to slip stitch into our 3rd chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join. From here we can go ahead and tie off. And there we are for the end of round 9. Now what you're going to want to do is go back and make 1 more of these, because for our bag we'll need 2 panels. So go ahead and make 1 more of these up to this point, and come back right here and we'll start with making the sides and straps. All right, now that we have both of our pieces made, we're going to take them and place both of them with the side we want facing out, facing to us. So I believe this is all personal choice. Normally it's referred to as, this would be the right side and this is the wrong side, and you can kind of tell that based on how the edge stitches. One side kind of faces a little bit more so in towards you. So that's just how I look at it. This is the right side, wrong side. Some projects you've seen in other videos of mine, if you've watched them, I do like using the wrong side out. But for this one, I'm going to do this right side facing in. So I'm going to leave those facing me. Now I'm going to take my next color and into here, I'm going to go into just 1 of these stitches on the outside. And then from here, after we've got it attached, I'm going to chain 6. All right, and then from here, I'm going to go on to my opposite side. Now for here, I attached on top of a double crochet stitch, so I'm just going to go ahead and, for symmetrical reasons, slip stitch on the top of a double crochet stitch on the other side. So you see we've got it attached, 6 chains, sorry, and a slip stitch to join. Now I'm going to go and into our next stitch coming up, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into there also. Now I'll turn my work. So as you can see, we're just kind of working up the side, and then into this next stitch we're going to put, and we're going to across the chains single crochet into each chain, so 6 single crochets. And then to join this, we're going to go 1 stitch up, and we'll slip stitch right into there. So 1 stitch, slip stitch, 1 stitch up from where we had joined. So we joined into this one. Now we're slip stitching into here. So we had our chain row and a row of single crochets. Now from here, we're going to continue going up the side. So I'm going to slip stitch into my next 2 stitches. And then I'm going to turn my work. And then from here, I'm going to double crochet into each of those 6 single crochets from the last row across that we did. Three, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to skip this first and then go to the second one up and slip stitch to join, because a row of double crochets is essentially 2 stitches high. And so basically what we're going to want to do is repeat this double crochet row, and we want to repeat these until we have a total of 48 double crochet rows. So I'll show you a couple little more with you. So we slip stitch into 1, 2 stitches up. So we had our slip stitch join and then 2 more. Then turn our work. And I do find it helpful for whenever I turn, always turn from your left side to the right side. And then double crochet into those 6 stitches. And then skip the one, slip stitch into the next one up, and then we're going to do it again. So slip stitch into your next 2, turn our work, and double crochet into your 6 stitches. and then skip one, slip stitch into the next one up, and then go ahead and just keep repeating this until you have 48 double crochet rows. So here I've completed all 48 of the rows around the outside, joining the two panels together. Now from here, I'm just going to continue working with this color. Our next step is I want to make the strap. So for this, I'll chain 2, turn my work, and then I'm going to double crochet into the 6 stitches across. Now we did slip stitch the join at the top of that, but from now on we're not going to do any slip stitches. And then chain 2. This is not counting, the chains 2s do not count as a stitch. Turn our work, and right into that very first, I'm going to put a double crochet there, and then into the remaining 5 stitches. So see it's starting to form. Again, chain 2, turn, and in that very first, don't skip over it because the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Double crochet there, and then into the next 5. So a total of 6 double crochets per row. Now with this style of a strap, I do find it is much more comfortable, especially on your shoulder if you have any weight in your bag. Like in my personal bags, purses, I usually always carry a book. 9 times out of 10, I have my iPad shoved inside of there also, so it does add a bit of weight. So a traditional, the way I see it, kind of a stitch is usually to do one big huge chain and then single crochet back and forth across. I do find this one, that chain and then the stitches, I do find that style tends to cut into my shoulder and causes it painful. So therefore this way, I found that it actually is more forgiving onto my shoulder. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this over and over until we get the length of a strap that we want. Usually I look at 44 is a good number for a strap for me, but if you want your strap shorter, do fewer repeats. Like right here, I've just got 3 rows. If you want a longer strap, then go ahead and do additional repeats. But as soon as you get your amount of repeats done for the strap size that you want, like I said, I usually go with 44. I'll meet you back here and show you how to attach it onto the opposite side to complete your strap. All right, so here I have the strap all finished. So you can use your crochet hook, and through a series of slip stitches, you can actually attach it that way. Personally, I prefer just using a darning needle. And you bring this over and you match up. You have your 6 stitches here and your 6 single crochets. And just bring that right on through, 1 per stitch. And then you just go through there a couple of times to secure it, and then weave in your ends. Our last step is to create our tassel. Now first what we're going to do is our piece of cardboard about 4 inches, maybe 5 inches. We want to take a piece of yarn and the color for the tassel that we're going to do it. I'm just going to go with the pink here. And we want a piece about 12 inches long. Now, to make it slightly easier for creating this, I'm just going to fold the piece of cardboard over so the piece of yarn is between the two pieces. You can find it a little bit easier if you have 2 separate pieces of cardboard. Now we're going to take our yarn and we're simply just going to wrap this around the 2 pieces of cardboard. And we want to do about 15 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 'So we have our 15 wraps. And we're going to take our 2 ends, pull them roughly about even, and we want to put a knot right into the top there. And I'm going to tie a square knot because it holds a bit better. Slide your yarn off of the cardboard. And then come to the ends of the loops and just trim them off. Cut off our working end, and then we'll take another piece of that yarn. I'm going to go about 18 inches. And we're going to tie this yarn right around the tassel. Sometimes it's easier if you've got a pencil. Toss a pencil in between to give you a nice little gap. So in between the folds, I just leave, it's about ½ an inch. And then we'll go ahead and tie. Just the hold, and then wrap our ends around to give it that nice little pop for it. Tie another knot. Take our scissors and just trim all the ends so that they're nice and even. Bring it back to our bag. We're going to go right at the top center. Take one of your tail ends. Just go right through, and we're going to tie this on. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. And again, secure it with a square knot. Trim the ends, and then our little tassel can just fit right in between our stitches as a little clasp to hold the bag together. hopefully prevent anyone if you're worried about someone reaching in or looking inside of your bag. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a little thumbs up, let me know about what you think of it in the comment section. And if you have yet to subscribe, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button with that bell notification next to it so you can get a heads up every time I post a new video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.